All right. Again, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Yoga's good, and being with you, even though I can't see all of you, is better than last week when I couldn't see any of you. All right, so sit up straight and tall. Actually, take your hands and turn the soles of the feet up to the ceiling. Press the tops of the feet down into the floor and energetically lift your ankles up. Just those two minor actions of the feet should result in you feeling some firmness come into the muscles of the outer hips and a lift come up into the chest. If you don't feel either of those things, press your feet harder and do a little bit more energetic action with the ankles so you really do feel some kind of lift come into the chest. That lift of the chest creates a sense of inner spaciousness that should then attract your mind from the outer world inward. Then take your fingertips in a cup shape and put your fingertips right on the floor beside your buttocks. Push down with your fingertips and up into your armpits. Then roll the shoulder bones back. Bring your shoulder blades closer together on your back, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that the chest lifts a little bit more. And then to be a little bit more precise about those shoulder actions, take your awareness to the lower shoulder blades. And from your lower shoulder blades, diagonally lift up toward the collarbone. And that should give you even more lift in the chest. Then keeping your chest well lifted and broad, close your eyes and fold your palms together at your heart. Observe your inhalations and observe your exhalations. As you inhale, make yourself taller from the tailbone all the way up through the head. Keep that height, and as you exhale, draw the prana or the energy of the breath outward towards your side ribs and armpits. Inhale, make yourself tall. Keep that height. Exhale, make yourself broad. Inhale, extend yourself. Exhale, expand yourself. Use the breath to create that additional inner spaciousness. And having first used the breath to create a sense of spaciousness, now follow Patanjali's advice and turn your awareness to the exhalation. Follow the exhalation with your mind, like it's a pathway or a thread that you can follow from the outer world toward the inner world, the inner landscape of you, that domain of yoga. Use your exhalations to turn your awareness there. Patanjali also is even more specific. He says that we can watch the pause that comes after each exhalation. So notice at the end of that exhalation, there is a small pause before the next inhalation happens. Let the mind take on the qualities of that pause so that the mind becomes more serene, more sattvic, more still. And from that still place within, let's all chant 3 Oms together. Follow that sound with your mind. Follow the reverberation of the sound with your mind. And from that space, inhale once more. Keep your chest well lifted and broad and bring your chin down to your chest. And your hands down to your thighs with your palms up. And then raise your head and open your eyes. If you are wearing glasses, this is a good time to put them back on. Oh, I'm realizing my yoga chair is in your view, so we may use a yoga chair today, okay? So go ahead and get one nearby if you don't have one. It doesn't have to be a yoga chair. It can be any kind of chair. I saw some really pretty dining room chairs actually in the last class that I taught. All right, then go ahead and switch the cross of your legs into the opposite cross. Tuck your turn your soles of your feet up toward the ceiling again. Press the tops of the feet down into the floor and energetically lift your ankles up. And that should result in 2 main things. You feeling some firmness come into the outer hips, and you feeling a little bit of a lift come all the way up into the chest. And keep that feeling of lift and openness in the chest. And as you exhale, roll your shoulder bones back, Bring your shoulder blades closer together on your back, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that the chest opens more. And then just feel that inner spaciousness. That inner spaciousness is really what surrounds, in yogic philosophy, the soul, right? Say that space of your own true splendor. And that's where we're aiming through the practice of yoga. And then yoga philosophy also tells us is that inner spaciousness is already perfect and is truly untouched by any circumstance of the natural world. The problem is that we just have all these obstacles and vrittis and kleshas that get in the way of our seeing it, or experiencing it. But it is there, and so just know that as we practice. All right, then stretch your legs out into Dandasana, staff pose. Oh, and also have a brick handy. And put the brick between your feet. I have the edges of my big toes against the brick. And if your toes kind of turn away from the brick, go ahead and reach down with your hands and put your big toes, actually, even if your toes are against the brick, go ahead and use your 2 fingers and get the big toes to push into the brick. So give them a little bit of help. If you can't reach your toes, you could get a strap. If you can't reach your toes without straightening your legs, then you should get a strap. Maybe you should get a strap anyway. And you're gonna lasso the toes and the brick. Can y'all see that? Okay. All right, that actually feels pretty good. Everyone actually make this little contraption. So get a strap and put it around your toes so that the toes stay against the strap. Sorry, so that the toes stay against the brick. And just observe what happens in the quadriceps as you do that. And then spread the other toes way away from the strap. Marcia, are your heels on the floor? Okay, there you go. All right, and then spread the soles of the feet. All right, then you can let go of the strap for now. Okay. Then take and cup shape your fingers again. Put your fingertips right down on the blanket. Push down on the blanket and lift up into your armpits again. Roll the shoulder bones back. Bring the shoulder blades closer together on your back, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that the chest opens more. Know this, and then push down on the fingertips one more time. And then relax for a second. So, Don, I've been talking this is only the 4th class I've taught in this way, but in particularly the last time I taught, I was talking a lot more than I usually do about what the names of the poses actually mean and represent. And so the Dandasana is like a staff, okay? So it's like something that supports you, right? That helps you walk around more with more stability if for instance, if you were needing it. You know? And so that's what this pose is supposed to give us, is this sense of inner spaciousness. I mean, a sense of inner stability. And so other teachers have described me that the staff part actually refers to the spine. Okay? So that we're really trying to lift up the spine. And sometimes when we're stiff, it actually helps if you sit up on a little bit of a blanket. In fact, everyone go ahead and take at least one blanket if you have one around. If you don't have one around, you can get a bunch of bath towels and fold them and sit on them. All right. But you should feel when you have a little bit more lift that just sitting on that height actually gives you more lift in the chest. Then cup shape your fingers again and press your big toes against the brick and spread your other toes wide apart. So one way we get that lift of the spine and the lift of the chest is making sure that that leg action is really sustained and engaged. And then we're also taking the support with our hands. And so push your fingertips back down behind you and roll the shoulder bones back again. Chaya, get even more lift in your chest. So there you go. Yeah, that's it. Very good. I can see the difference there. All right, and then roll the shoulders back again, everyone. Now take your awareness to your shoulder blades. Move your shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that the chest opens more. But I usually just say that, but It's actually a little bit more directional than that. Take your lower tips of your shoulder blades and move them up toward your collarbones. So it's like a diagonal movement upward, right? And you should feel that then the collarbones get even broader still, right? Okay. All right. Then move your brick out of the way. Now you're going to take your right hand on the inside of your right knee. Oh, you know what? Oh, okay, yeah, we'll just do it this way. Take your right hand on the inside of your right knee and move your knee out to the side. Okay, so like it's in Baddha Konasana, because it is in Baddha Konasana. Okay. All right, and then do the same thing with your other leg. Okay. So both legs are in Baddha Konasana. Okay. And I am feeling right now that I would actually like to sit on a little bit more height. I don't know if you can, well, I'm sure you can see because I've spotlighted myself. See how high up my knees are? Okay. All right, so I want to get them to go down. So I have to say, okay, even though my Baddha Konasana was really coming along yesterday in practice, for some reason, it feels really tight now. So I'm just going to take 2 more blankets, put them on top of my blankets, and lo and behold, see how my knees went down a little bit more? So at least now they're kind of level with the pelvis. So, you know, empower yourself and do that for yourself. So, and I can already feel that I have more release in this inner part of my groin just from doing that. It's really pretty remarkable. You could also sit on a bolster. I happen to have a bolster handy too. If you don't have a bolster, it'd be an excellent time to make one. Or support the local business of Yoga Mart USA up in Dallas and buy a bolster from her. Her name's Marge. Because they're really, well, you really want to have a bolster in this time right now because we need to bolster ourselves from within, right? Okay. All right, so now the feet are in the, let's say, Sukhasana position, which means I've got my heels against each other and the balls of the feet against each other. Okay? I'm really pushing the balls of the feet against each other and the heels against each other. And when I do that, I really feel those femur bones draw into the sockets more. It's not really the femur bone so much, it's the outer muscles of the hip getting more stable. Karen Higgins, are your hips okay here? Yeah, okay. All right, then really push and see what happens. Yeah. Then, now we're gonna do swastikasana feet. So lean a little bit forward and take your hands and turn the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling as much as you can. Okay. Then press the little toe side of the foot very firmly against each other, and you'll find that you get even more release coming into the inner groin and more into the outer knee. Looks pretty good, everyone. Then take your hands to the outside of your knee, pull your knees up, and then stretch your legs out again into Dandasana or staff pose. If your feet are together, just go ahead and push those big toes against each other and spread your other toes wide apart so you really feel that firmness come into the quadriceps. Lengthen up through your side ribs and roll your shoulder bones back. You can take the shoulder blades, cup your fingertips and push up. Push down with the fingertips in order to uplift. Then shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and then go to the lower tips of the shoulder blades and then move diagonally upward toward the edges of the collarbones. I actually am imagining in my little lower shoulder blades that there's kind of one arrow that kind of goes up here to the center of my chest. Then there's another little vector that goes out toward my collarbone and another little vector that goes out toward the other collarbone. Almost like I'm, like there's a fan spreading. Okay? And so taking my shoulder blades in is like that bottom of a fan, and then the front of the body spreads like a fan as a result of doing that. All right, now move your legs a little bit wider apart. You may not need quite as much height for this next thing that we're going to do. The next pose we're going to do is Siddhasana. So take your right hand on the inside of the right knee. Keep the knee out reasonably wide, and then turn the sole of your foot up toward the ceiling with your hand. And then just like you were doing in the opening swastikasana press, that top of the foot down into the floor and energetically lift your ankles up, or just one ankle up. And you should feel that movement again, lengthens the inner groin and also draws up from the outer hips. Then bring your other foot in and do stage 1 first, so you're just lining your heels up with each other. Press both tops of your feet down and energetically lift both ankles up. And when you do that, you should feel some lengthening coming into the inner groin and some firmness coming into the outer hips. Then take your front foot, which I think is your left foot, but may not be, and put the toe right on the inside of the calf and the hamstring of the other leg. Okay, so that's stage 2 of Siddhasana. You can, and then even just everyone be in this stage 2, don't be in a hurry to get to stage 3, and press the tops of both feet down and energetically lift the ankles up. And you probably just saw that when I did those 2 things in this position, my chest did automatically lift. All right, now take one hand and get your bottom toe and see if you can pull your bottom toe up between the calf and the hamstring. I can't quite do that today without getting a major foot cramp, but sometimes the foot cramp will go away. Okay. And then push the tops of the feet down again and energetically lift the ankles up, okay, so that the knees release, and then draw up from the outer knee into the outer hips. Okay. Now this pose has a hand mudra also. Okay. So you're going to stretch your hands out and join your thumb and your first finger, turn your palms up, and then really push down and put the hands on the knees and really push down with your hands. And you know, the other thing you can do in addition to pushing down, you can actually broaden outward, like in this action with your hands. And that'll do 2 things. It'll broaden the groin, but it'll also broaden the collarbones. All right, so I hope you can feel that. All right, now with that broadness of the collarbones and the groins, again, go to the shoulder blades. Take your shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body so that that chest lifts, and you can use that lower shoulder blade vector action if you want. And then just go ahead and close your eyes. Maintain the firmness of the pose, but turn your awareness to the inside spaciousness of the pose. This pose is called Siddhasana. And the siddhi, sometimes it's translated as pose of wisdom. And the siddhis are, and I guess you could say wisdom is a kind of power. But in the 3rd pada of the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali lists all of these powers or siddhis that come to us through the practice of yoga. Some of them he lists are being able to read the minds of other people, to become invisible, to be in more than one place at one time. And those might seem sort of fanciful, but what I think he's saying is that our ability to transform our consciousness comes through the practice of yoga. And so even if we aren't, trying to be invisible or be in 2 places at one time, we are trying to transform our consciousness through the practice of yoga. And that transformation some days might be very small. Like maybe you just feel a little bit less anxious, okay, for just a few minutes during the practice or after the practice. And that gives you this inner sense of power and autonomy in a very crazy world. So just feel that sense of inner spaciousness within. And if you're losing it, see if you can push your hands a little bit further down toward the floor, down on your knees, and move your knees out a little bit more and re-engage those shoulder blade actions again so that you can really stay in that space of inner spaciousness. Good. Go ahead and open your eyes. And then stretch your legs back out into Dandasana first and see if you can feel that different feeling in your groin from Siddhasana. And see if is your Dandasana actually a little bit transformed from your Siddhasana. Do your legs feel like they're a little bit more drawn together? Is there automatically a little bit more lift in the chest, even without the work of your arms? Just observe whatever effect you can observe. All right, everyone looks pretty good. All right, then stretch your legs back out a little bit wider, and a little bit wider than the edge of your sticky mat. Then take your left hand on the inside of your left knee, keep the knee out wide. Then you're just going to put your one foot in Siddhasana, so half Siddhasana. Press the top of the foot down into the floor and energetically lift that bottom ankle up. And when I did it on this side, I actually felt much more firmness in the outer hip coming, okay? And a little bit less release in the inner groin, okay? But very sharp sensation in the outer hip, so that's good. All right, now do stage 2. Well, first stage, let's say, because that already is just half. Okay? You're going to line up your heels with each other. And again, press the tops of the feet down into the floor and energetically lift your ankles up. Okay, now that I've got both going, I did feel a little bit more length coming into the groin. And really lift those ankles up and you'll feel some firmness come into the outer hips. Then take your front foot and reach the toe between the calf and the hamstring. And then sometimes you may need to turn the calf and the hamstrings away from each other if the toe turned the leg in. Then take your other hand and see about pulling the big toe up. Good job with pulling the toe, everyone. I can see that very clearly. All right. Ooh, okay, now press the tops of both feet down into the floor and energetically lift your ankles up. Yeah. And that you should feel some lengthening coming into the inner groin and more firmness coming into the outer hips. Then lift up through the side ribs so you feel a lift coming into the chest. Now let's do the hand position. Join your thumb and your first finger and put your hands on your knees. Yeah. And again, it's not, the arms are actually really helping the legs get more open. Yeah. So when you push your hands down into the knees and move them out wider, you should feel the groin get a lot wider. And you should also feel your collarbones get a lot wider. Then do your shoulder blade actions. Draw your shoulder blades in, away from the neck, and into the center of the body so that the chest opens more. And then again, close your eyes one more time. Unless you don't want to close your eyes, you don't have to. But feel the sense of inner spaciousness. Another thing that is interesting about the pose Siddhasana is it has the longest description of its effects in light and yoga, except for headstand and shoulder stand. So to me, that suggests that along with the inversion and the inversion aspect of things, that this seated pose is very beneficial for stilling the fluctuations of the mind and moving the prana of the body more deeply around in. So see if you can just glimpse why that might be the case in this particular pose. Is it the rootedness of the sitting bones on the floor? Is it the way that the legs and the feet are bound a little bit with each other that actually helps you feel the central channel of the body more clearly? Is it how the arms and the legs work together to help still the fluctuations of the mind? All of those things could be true. Then open your eyes and stretch your legs out again into Dandasana. And see, and after that second side Siddhasana, do you feel that your legs are actually drawing in a little bit more fully? I really do. Okay? I really feel that after each of those seated groin opening poses, I have more ability to squeeze my inner thighs together and extend from the inner knee through the inner heel. Okay? So now I'm going to take advantage of that inner work and then really draw up from the little toe side of the foot from the outer hip. In fact, I'm going to take my strap and put it around the arch of the foot. Keep the big toes together as much as you can. Yeah. And then I'm going to pull that little toe side of my foot, and particularly right around the central arch up where you actually feel a little bit more stability come into the outer hips. Then holding onto the strap, roll the shoulder bones back, bring the shoulder blades closer together on your back, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that the chest opens a little bit more. And then go ahead and release. All right. Then we're going to do some of those same things standing up. So go ahead and move your blankets out of the way for now. And stand in Tadasana. Okay, so Tadasana means a mountain pose. So think of a mountain. And I was talking about Siddhasana and the possibility of transforming consciousness and your ability to do things. But any pose has to some degree that capability, right? So just close your eyes and visualize a mountain. So mountains also have qualities. And when I think about a mountain, I tend to think of its rootedness with the earth, like I say that a lot in class. And I also think of it in the sense that it ascends upward toward the skies. Extend more through your ring fingers and you'll feel your chest really open. And that's like inspirational enough to me. They're also, usually beautiful. But the other day, when I was talking about qualities of Siddhasana, it occurred to me that mountains, by and large, are created out of a very chaotic and disruptive process, right? Some part of the earth had to move and transform very dramatically in order for the mountain to actually be as the mountain that we see today. Right? And so we're in a time of enormous shift and chaos, but maybe we can hold on to the possibility that there's still some possibility of creating beauty in this experience. And so maybe thinking about the mountain in that way can help us deal with the chaos that we're dealing with right now. And then open your eyes, check back in at your base and see, are your big toes still together? Have you spread your other toes wide apart? I forgot to say, we're all learning. When you stand up, you have to kind of move your screen, right? So I can see more of you. I was thinking about that too. It's just kind of like a new part of asana that we have to learn now. That just as like we arrange ourselves in the pose, we have to now learn how to arrange the screen so that we can see each other more fully, right? So press down into your heels and lift the quadriceps up and observe how you get this extra feeling of firmness in the hips from having done that seated pose work first. Lengthen up through your side ribs and roll your shoulder bones back. And then go ahead and do your Siddhasana mudra right here. Go ahead and join your thumb and your first fingers. Turn your palms up toward the ceiling. Extend through your ring fingers and feel how in Tadasana it still works. That you can get more broadening across the collarbones by holding your hands in this particular Siddhasana position. And take your awareness to your shoulder blades. And turn your shoulder blades, move your shoulder blades in, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that the chest opens more. And then keep that opening that you got from your Siddhasana arms and bring your palms down and then turn your palms back down or back toward facing you and feel. When I did that, what happened to me is I felt my shoulder blades draw in actually more. Let's try that again. So if you bring your Siddhasana, because it really seemed to work. Okay, bring your arms out into Siddhasana. Do all your other Siddhasana actions you know how to do. Keep your legs going, keep your buttock flesh down, draw your abdomen in and up, all those kinds of things. But really press through your thumb and your first finger and extend through your other two fingers and feel how that draws the collarbone in, or bronze the collarbone, sorry. Feel how also it really, particularly the outer upper shoulder blade, it draws in. Then move the shoulder blades away from the neck. And then from the lower shoulder blade, lower tip of the shoulder blade, move upward in those three vectors, up to the top of the collarbone, center of the collarbone, out to the edges of the collarbones, and really keep extending through your ring fingers so you feel that collarbone getting broader and broader and the shoulder blade action be more stabilized on the body. All right, then push your hands against your torso. Then it's kind of like they're fixing the shoulder blade in, right? And then let go of the mudra and turn your palms back to their regular Tadasana position. And just feel how much taller your Tadasana is. Feel how much more lift you have in your chest. And from Tadasana, let's do Urdhva Hastasana. It looks like you can't really see the tops of my arms there, but I'll stand back a little bit more. But you've seen the tops of my hands many times. Okay. All right, now I got it. Okay, I just needed to stand back more. Okay, not all yoga poses have fancy inspirational names. All right. But this one just Urdhva means up and Hasta is our hands. And so we lift the hands upward, but press down into your heels and lift up with your arms. And do that so much that you feel some opening coming into the armpits. Gita Iyengar actually refers to the armpits as the windows of the soul. Okay. So if you imagine your true essential self here, they're like cathedral windows. Sometimes she says that you want to really open the armpits as much as you can, right? Because we want to go inward and feel more inner spaciousness. So really reach up through your ring fingers. Join your thumb and your first finger again here and reach up through your other 3 fingers and see how you get even more lengthening coming into the armpits. Then release your fingers, turn your palms down and push your hands into that air element and bring yourself back down into Tadasana. We're getting ready to do the pose Vrikshasana, which is tree pose. Okay. But one thing I would really like to exhort y'all in this time that you're in your house is take out your copy of Light on Yoga. Okay. And actually look at the pictures. So, we're not doing very many poses in class right now, but look at the ones that we did in class. Right? But if you do that, one of the things you'll see in Vrikshasana, tree pose, is how open his armpits are. Okay? So I'm going to turn to the side and turn my tricep in, and then I'm going to try and actually move my arm back behind my ear, without letting my head go forward. Because his arms are way, way, way back behind his ears. And both arms are. So do your other arm, turn your tricep from the outside in, and then reach way, way back. There you go. So really, if it bothers your shoulder, you don't have to do it, but just keep on turning your arms back. Oh, that's very good, Karen. Good arm action. Who's that right there? Good, Shuba. I can see that. You know what is really nice about this format is it's very easy to remember people's names because they're there. It's like you're wearing a name tag. Okay. And then reach all the way up. I'm getting some kind of, oh, that's my bolster. Okay. Then reach up even more and then do that Siddhasana finger position again. Join your thumb and your first finger. Really push them against each other and reach up very strongly with your other 3 fingers. And doesn't that make you taller? Aren't you getting more length in your armpits by doing that particular hand mudra? Right, and then go back just to the regular Urdhva Hastasana hands and lift up one more time. Turn your palms down and really push your palms all the way down and try and recapture that Siddhasana feeling in the chest and the shoulder blades as you bring your hands down. Then keep that broadness of the collarbones as much as you can, and then join your palms together at your heart. Okay. This is called Namaskarasana. And it has lots of symbolism too. Arun, when he was here last, described it as your thumbs are acknowledging your own inner self. The middle top 3 fingers are ascending upward toward the more universal consciousness. And then if you move your little finger toward me, you're also or whoever's in front of you, you're also acknowledging that divine presence within the other person. But it's also a pose. Okay? So push your palms very strongly against each other, okay? And use your thumbs to help get that lift of the chest. Now take your awareness to your lower shoulder blades, and as you lift up with your thumbs, you can do those 3 vectors. Okay? So little lower shoulder blade, all the way up to the center of the sternum, and then out to the edges of each sternum so that the collarbone stays super, super, super broad. Namaskarasana. Yeah. And then keep pressing your palms against each other and do Urdhva Namaskarasana. Keep your leg action strong, and then try and push your palms as much as you can against each other. Try to get the arms as straight as possible, and then eventually the arms also move way, way, way back behind your ears. If it bothers your shoulders, just back off, okay? But as you do that, we've really intelligized our shoulder blades now. The more I'm moving my arms back, I'm again taking my awareness to the lower tip of the shoulder blade and really lifting up from there in those 3 movements to the center of the collarbone and to the outer collarbones. Good. And then lift up one more time, make yourself as tall as you can in Urdhva Namaskarasana, and then release your arms down so that your chest stays nice and well lifted. All right. All right, if you want to take the support of the wall for the first Vrikshasana, go ahead and do so. It's optional. I have been feeling a little unstable. Just not, I mean, not like anything that you should be concerned about. I don't need to mean that word, but I really have been appreciating working at the wall. You know, we're sheltering within our homes because it's for safety. Okay. But you know, so we're within. So why not take advantage of the fact that our homes have walls? Okay. And the wall is a good teacher. The wall provides additional sense of stability. Okay. So if you do happen to have a wall handy, go ahead and go to it. And I do feel myself when I do all of my actions against the wall, I can really feel that my shoulder blades could go back a little bit more. I could get even a little bit more precise in my shoulder blade action. But even more importantly, and I'll turn my palms to face toward you, even more importantly, I really do begin to feel more awareness in my back body, and I feel more stable. So I'm just borrowing the stability of the wall. And truthfully, I'll borrow borrow any stability I can get. Okay. All right, in a nice aparigraha kind of way. All right, okay. Then turn your right leg out. Lift your right leg up. Lift your right leg up as high as you can. And really try and lift it up high. In fact, here's another little thing to get it higher. I can't quite grab my ankle yet, so I'm on my, what is that, calf muscle. And then I can pull that knee up even more. And then I really can reach down and get my ankle without losing all that much of my Tadasana. And then I put my foot against the middle of the thigh, as high as you can get it. And then just like we were doing in Dandasana, push your foot, like when we pushed our feet against each other, push your foot and your inner thigh against each other. And as you do those actions, you should feel this outer hip firm, and you should feel length coming into the inner groin. All right, now do your one arm Siddhasana against the knee. And just like we were doing in Siddhasana, push that Vrikshasana leg a little bit more firmly with your Siddhasana hand. And you can do this other hand in Siddhasana too if you want to. All right, and you'll feel your outer feet, you'll feel that your hips get a little bit firmer as well. All right, then go ahead and add your arms into Urdhva Hastasana. When you're all the way against the wall, it's actually, you really can't go all the way back into Urdhva Namaskarasana because the wall's in the way. Okay. But go ahead and keep pressing through both heels. Move your body flush down, draw your abdomen in and up, and make yourself as tall as you can. And come up onto the ball of the foot and make yourself a taller tree. I happen to have some ropes to hang on to. I'm not expecting you to, but pretend that you're hanging onto some ropes. And then keep hanging onto your imaginary ropes as you lower your heel back down and see if you get a little bit more length coming in to that standing side of the body. Good. And then release and come down. Back into Tadasana against the wall. Really feel the work of your Tadasana against the wall. Sorry, that was completely imprecise. What I wanted to say is, can you feel a difference in one side of the body that isn't present on the other side? And when I make that inquiry, I do feel more opening in the front groin of the bent leg side. But as I'm sitting here, particularly having done that upward lifting and coming up onto the toes, I'm much more palpably, and then back down, my standing heel is more grounded. Okay? So both sides actually received a good benefit. And now we just have to do it the other way. Okay, so turn your left leg out, lift your leg high, lift your knee high, lift your knee higher still. And then if you don't quite have your ankle yet, it's okay, but before you actually place your foot, wherever you are, pull with your hand to get your knee up a little bit higher. Then put the heel right at the very top of the thigh. And just like we did in Baddha Konasana, push your heel. So like you had two Baddha Konasana feet, but now you just have one. Push your heel into the standing thigh, and also from your outer hip, push the inner thigh against the foot. And you should feel length come into the groin and firmness come into the outer hips. All right, now let's add the Siddhasana hands. So really join your thumb and your first finger, extend through the other fingers, And just like we did in Siddhasana, really push your knee a little bit more toward the wall and down toward the floor. And you should feel more opening coming into the groin and a little bit more firmness coming into the outer hips. You can also do your other Siddhasana hand too. There you go, and that'll keep your collarbones broad. All right, now reach your arms way, way, way up for Urdhva Hastasana. Press down into both heels, and you'll feel your buttock flesh draw down. Then lift up even more. Make yourself tall. All right, then I do have real ropes, but you can use imaginary ropes. Okay, and come up onto the balls of the feet, and pretend that you could hold onto the ropes. So here I'm doing imaginary ropes, and I'm holding on like my hands aren't going to leave anywhere, and then I'm going to lower that heel back down. And then bring your hands down and your feet down and come back to Tadasana. Now you should feel opening, a little bit more opening in both front groins, a little bit more firmness in both outer hips, and a little bit more rootedness down into the floor. Trees are kind of like, for me, the tree symbolism and the mountain symbolism have some similarities, right? Trees and mountains are both grounded through the earth. I mean, trees have roots, so it's a little bit different, but they have a relationship with the earth. And they also ascend upward toward the skies. So they have a relationship with what's above us. Right? I have a lovely view of the green trees of my backyard from my yoga room. Okay? And so I also like the mountain. I find trees really beautiful. They also provide shade, which is another form of sheltering, right? They protect us from the elements of the sun. And so think of whatever tree comes to your mind. And when we redo our second tree pose, have that particular quality in mind. So just pick one for a second side. I'm going to move a little bit away from the wall now to see if I can bring that stability I got from the wall into my own body without the wall. And it'll also give me the ability to do Urdhva Namaskarasana a little bit better. Okay. So again, keep whatever tree quality you picked in mind as you turn your right leg out. And lift your leg up. Lift your leg up high. Lift your leg up even higher and get your foot wherever you can, or ankle wherever you can without bending over too much. And then pull up a little bit higher so that knee goes higher. And then see, can you put the top of the foot against the top thigh? I'm still I still have the ability to touch the wall, so that's nice. All right, now push your heel against the thigh and the thigh against the heel like we're doing the Baddha Konasana action. All right, then reach your arms all the way up. I'll skip to the Siddhasana part this time, sorry. Reach, because we're doing Namasarasana, and reach and join your palms as much as you can. Press down into the heels, spread your toes like the roots of the tree, lift your hands up toward the sky like they were, like it was branches reaching up toward the ceiling. Pratima, straighten your elbows a little bit more. That looks good, Sopo. Good, Marsha. Chaya, your outer hip is kind of sticking outward a little bit too much. But yeah, that's fine to use the theory. That looks pretty good, Vicky. All right, very good, everyone. And then come down. So let your leg come out of the pose now. Okay, then do the second side. So maybe you want to pick the same quality of the tree for the second side. Maybe you could pick a different quality of the tree. I was trying to go for rootedness, but it actually ended up where as I was lifting up, I was thinking more about, my mind changed, or vritti came, and I was thinking more about how the branches lift upward toward the sky. All right, so turn your other leg out, lift your leg up higher, lift your leg up higher still, place your hand, foot. And but again, before you place your foot, don't just go right to the thigh. Instead, use your hand and lift up even more the leg. Then go ahead and place the foot at the very top of the thigh. Push your foot and your thigh against each other so you feel those femur bones draw in. Then reach your arms up, reach up even more, join your palms together, and reach up toward the ceiling. And as you reach up, move your arms back, move the shoulder bones in and take those shoulder blades in toward the back body. Good. And then go out and come all the way down. And stand in Tadasana. And feel the effect of that Vrikshasana work. So what I'm feeling is again more rootedness in the hips, more firmness of the legs, better compaction of the legs, and more lift in the chest. So I've got many tree qualities. I got more connection with the earth, and I got more ascension from the sky. And see how it changes the quality of your Tadasana as well. All right, and then stand back at the wall again. We're going to do not quite a Siddhasana foot, but a Padmasana foot. So we're just going to do the first stage of Ardha Padmottanasana. So everyone take your right hand on the inside of the right knee, move your knee out to the side, point your foot, and take your other hand and put it on your ankle and bring the foot as high on your thigh as you can. If this bothers anyone's knee, then you can just go back and do Vrikshasana again, okay? And then just stand up as straight as tall as you can. Lift your quadricep of the standing leg. Push the top of the foot or the little toe side of the foot against the thigh and energetically move your ankle toward me. And you'll feel that more length come in the inner groin and more firmness come into the outer hips. And then let go of your foot, straighten your leg all the way out. Move your knee out to the side, get your foot, turn the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling and put your heel as high on your thigh as you can. I'm holding onto my foot today because the foot isn't wanting to stay on its own. Right now my groin in this side feels a little bit more challenged. So I'm going to do my foot actions again. I'm going to really push the top of the foot into the top thigh and energetically lift my ankle away from the thigh, and maybe I'll get a little bit more release in the front groin. I can't reach my knee with my Siddhasana foot, but I can put my Siddhasana hand. I can put my hand on my thigh and see if I can just coax a little bit more extension out of that tight place in my groin. And then bring your leg all the way back down and feel the effect. There's a little bit more opening. And for me, I feel a little bit more length in this part of my pelvic region. And that translates into also a little bit more opening in the chest. Let's do it one more time before we move toward the inversion sides of things. All right, so move your knee out to the side, externally rotate that leg, get the little toe side of the foot with your hand, and you can use this hand on your ankle and actually get a little bit more ankle turn, not really ankle turn, but lower shin turn, and put the foot as high on your thigh as you can. If your foot stays without your hand, that's great. Mine doesn't. So I'm not just holding on, but I'm trying to use, oh wow, that really worked. I have put it'll be your right thumb, but put your right thumb on the ball of the foot. And this time, as you push the top of your foot into your thigh and move your ankle away from the thigh, push on that big toe side of the foot. And you probably saw it on the screen, but I got this much deeper opening in that inner groin and a little bit more firmness in the outer hip. All right, then bring that leg down and observe. Could y'all feel that when you used your thumb? Did it make any difference? Yes? No? All right, great. All right, one more side. So bring your leg out. Put your one hand really on the ankle bone itself and the other hand on the little toe side of the foot. And you're turning that lower part of your shin along with your foot more upward to place the foot a little bit better. Okay? And I'm holding onto my foot, but it's kind of like that thumb and the first finger action. It actually helps if you really press. So this time I push the top of the thigh into the foot I move my ankle away from my thigh energetically, but I push on that ball. Oh, wow. I push on that ball of the foot, and you can really feel and see how much more opening you get in your groin. All right, and then release and come down. You know, one thing, I hadn't planned that, I just did it. And I think what's happening in that is because I'm teaching in the space where I normally practice, I have more of a feeling of practice palpably in me than when I'm teaching in front of you. And what that partly means is I'm a little bit more willing to experiment with something. Right? So maybe that's an actual benefit of this new setup, is that I am really surrounded by the room and the energy of the room in which I practice, and that gives me more ability actually in a way to teach from my own experience, okay? Because that's what I have to draw from, because I don't have the energy of y'all to draw from in the same way. So, food for thought. Okay, the other thing I really want to exhort you to do during this time, in addition to getting light on yoga and looking at the pictures. And the other thing, well, I'll talk about inversions in a second, but it strikes me that you could also have a pen and a pad of paper in your practice space. So you could write down the poses that we did. So the poses that you could look at when you finish practicing, we did a Baddha Konasana, we did a Siddhasana, we did a Dandasana, we did a Tadasana, we did a Vrikshasana, and we did the first stage of Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana. And really just take the time and look at the pictures. And then the next time, read what it actually says about the effects. And then the next time you're practicing those poses, or the next time we're together practicing those poses, you'll have just a little bit more depth of understanding and insight just from adding to your practice, the practice of reading from the book. So that's one exhortation. The other exhortation is really to take up an inversion practice. I think a lot of you have seen the immunity sequence that goes around. There's a respiratory sequence that's going around. There's a emotional stability sequence. And all of those sequences have a strong inversion component to them. Okay? And I just encourage you, even if it's just every single day that you're not taking a class on Zoom, putting your legs up the wall, great, but you also really want to do something that gets your head behind your heart. I'm sorry, not your head behind your heart, that would be hard. Like Dharana Varandasana. But your head below your heart. So what are the poses that do that? One pose that does that is Uttanasana. So you could just fold forward from your hips, and if your hands don't touch the floor, that's fine, and just let your head hang. So there's Uttanasana, where your head is behind your hips. So everyone go ahead and do an Uttanasana. If you're really, really stiff, you can rest your forehead on the chair, something, but do an Uttanasana. Yeah, you can use blocks, that's all fine. Nice staircase, Marcia. Impressive. Balcony. All right, so the head goes below the heart. Oh, and also in these head below the heart poses, if you can support the crown of your head with something, it will give you even more a good effect. Okay, so Uttanasana is one option. I'm just gonna let you stay in Uttanasana for another 30 seconds. So you can hopefully, when we come out of Uttanasana, that'll give you the opportunity to feel the effect of the pose. Right, then press down into your heels, move your buttock flesh down, place your hands on your hips, and roll those shoulder bones back as you come all the way back up into Tadasana. And just feel the effect. I mean, when I come up out of Uttanasana, particularly a supported Uttanasana, I do really feel like the contents of my brain have kind of receded inward, and I feel almost in my brain like I was putting my hand on my forehead, and it's very soothing. Okay. So that's one option. Another good option for beginning the process of getting upside down is downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So again, if you can manage head support for downward facing dog with a block or some bolsters, then that's great. I did just want to say, like, you see how I'm standing with the brick on my head? Okay. That's the top of my head. So that's where on Uttanasana, I'm really aiming my head to be supported. In downward facing dog, where I'm aiming is really more at the top of the forehead, up near my hairline. Okay. If you don't have a hairline anymore, imagine where you would like your ideal hairline to be. Yeah. And I would go ahead and get your brick, actually, because you really can feel the difference there. So I was just kind of showing, but go ahead and get a brick. And probably for this, a foam brick is better, but I just happen to have, oh, here's my foam brick. So put the brick right on the Shirshasana part of your head. And moving back toward the wall, but close your eyes. And see, as you stay here for just a second, can you feel, you can even push down into your head a little bit, okay, with the brick. That's why the softer brick is better. See if you can feel what changes come into your mind and your brain when you're on the crown of your head. Even if you think you're imagining it, there should be some kind of sensation of change. Then take your brick and put it on your forehead. And it's the top of the forehead, not the part that's right between your eyes. That's where you want your downward facing dog support to be. Close your eyes and see if you can feel that difference. So for me, when I'm pressing this part of my head, I really am feeling my eyes draw in. I'm feeling even more, in many ways, a drawing inward of the contents of my brain receding. And my eyes were closed, but I actually had the feeling that my eyes just wanted to close more deeply. So it's that place that you're trying to put yourself in for downward facing dog. Okay. So how do you get that? Well, the standard way is when you're getting ready to go up in downward facing dog position, the brick is pretty much right at the middle of my chest. Okay. So when I turn my palms up, triceps, and press the thumb and the first finger, and I go back, that part of my forehead just automatically hits the brick. Okay. And remember, the thing is, you have to kind of pretend as you get into the pose that the brick isn't there. So you have to you might even keep your head raised at first. So that way you can keep your arms really straight, really pull your thighs back. And then when you're in your dog or your final dog, then let the head descend. And it should just really go right to that, what do you call it, top of your forehead. And, it's okay if you don't get it. I mean, I've done that many, 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 many times in my life. And so I pretty much know where it goes. Right. So what if you put it in the wrong place? It's no big deal. Okay. All you have to do is come down, readjust. Okay. And also, you can experiment. That's a foam brick, and that particular foam brick is the tiniest bit too high for me. It was good enough that I didn't want to change, but you might need to have a brick with a blanket on it, or you might need to have a bigger brick. Okay? But look around your house, or books. That's actually a benefit of this too. I'm looking at this. Hold on, I'll show. Bend your knees, come down for just a second, and then look at the screen. All right, so here are some books that are about the size of my brick. And I remember what I said, my brick, it just felt a little bit short. Well, I can't take part of the brick off, but I can find the set of bricks, yeah, a set of books that happen to be around. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. All right.
You need to move it. Yeah.
A set of bricks that happen to, sorry, a set of books that happen to be just exactly the height that I need. Okay? So they just happen to be in my yoga room because we're reorganizing our study in the midst of all of this. And so this way, when I really go into my downward facing dog and pull those slides back, oh, that feels so much better. Oh my gosh. When I said it was good enough, I was in delusion. Just a tiny little bit of difference. It's like maybe less than an inch, but it made all the difference in my experience of the pose. Okay? Just that little tiny bit. So, you know, it's okay to be precise or picky or whatever. What does Christina say? Picky with a purpose. Christina is my sister, those of you who don't know. We've been practicing sequences from Pune together for, I think, the past 10 or 12 days. And it's been really great to go through those together with her. Okay, so everyone come out of downward facing dog. And as you come back out of downward facing dog, feel the effect of your Tadasana. Of your Adho Mukha Svanasana on your Tadasana. Is there like a residual feeling in that place of your forehead that had the bricks on it from that opening of the armpits in downward facing dog? Maybe you feel a little bit more lift in the chest. Okay. All right, so the third easy pose, particularly if you don't do Shirshasana, that you get some Shirshasana benefits is Prasarada Padottanasana. Okay, because the head's below the heart here too. And it's also the same thing. It is good to get the crown of the head is this one. Now, when I turn to the side and bring my feet out, usually, though I'm really feeling the work in my groin here, okay, my head goes down to the floor without any problem. Yeah. It always has. I have a long torso and reasonably flexible hamstrings, and so I've always been able to get my head to the floor in this pose. But you know, God gave me that, but not Padmasana, right? Okay. So here's where books might actually be even better than a brick, okay? Because you'll be able to progress. You'll be able to just say, okay, so I got to my brick, but it's a big jump from the brick to the floor, right? So I can say, okay, maybe I can get rid of one of my books. Oh, wow. My books also, as I'm noticing them, they actually have a tiny bit of give to them, which is actually kind of nice, and that would depend on the book. Okay, so grab a brick if you need it, get whatever you need for support of your head. Bring your legs out wide. Press down into the heels, lift your quadriceps and your inner thighs up. Place your hands on your hips. Look up toward the ceiling and then fold forward. Bring your hands down to the floor. Do the concave back stage 2. And then fold all the way down to the floor. With your head toward the floor and just fill up the space. Whatever's there. Keep pressing down into your heels. Lift your quadriceps up. Lift your inner thighs up. I guess bricks are kind of adjustable. I'm looking at Marsha adjusting her brick. Right, then place your hands on, then come back to the concave stage. Place your hands on your hips. Roll your shoulder bones back, and then from your buttocks to your heels, press downward. And again, observe and walk your feet back together and observe the effect. Observe it in your brain and your being. Okay, so if you are doing headstand regularly, either at the wall or in the middle of the room, go ahead and get your Shirshasana set up. If you don't do headstand because you've not yet been taught headstand, or because you have a neck issue, whatever keeps you from being a headstand doer, pick one of the 3 poses that came before. Okay? So there's going to be Shirshasana, but if you don't do Shirshasana for whatever reason, doesn't matter, do either Uttanasana, downward facing dog, or Prasarita Padottanasana. Or, you know, you could even alternate between the 3, but it would be better to pick one and just stay a little bit longer while the Shirshasana doers are doing Shirshasana. Okay? So everyone make their setup for Shirshasana, whatever that is. I'm not going to demonstrate it. I'm going to talk you through it. Okay? All right. Bob's up and against Shirshasana. And again, if you're on your cycle, for instance, you wouldn't demonstrate, but you could do any of those other 3 poses. So probably Uttanasana and downward facing dog would be better if you're on your cycle than Prasarita. Okay? So Shirshasana, go ahead and get into Shirshasana. If you don't want to do Shirshasana, I don't know why y'all aren't getting into Shirshasana, but go ahead and get into Shirshasana. Or one of the other 3 if you don't do Shirshasana. Okay. I'm going to give a few Shirshasana doer instructions, but everyone should be keeping their legs super, super engaged, regardless if you're in Prasarita Padottanasana or if you're in Shirshasana. Right now, press your forearms down, and from your inner elbow, extend through your ring fingers, so lift the shoulders up. Lift the shoulders into the sockets really, really well. Move your shoulder blades into your back, and just like we were doing in Tadasana, move your buttocks up toward your heels, turn your thighs in, and extend up through the inner heels. And then you just cycle through those instructions. Press your forearms down to lift your shoulders up. Move your buttocks up toward your heels. Turn your thighs in and extend up through the inner feet. Those of you in Uttanasana or Prasarita Padottanasana, keep your leg action strong, and then see if you can get a little bit more length in your spine. Pratima, your feet are a little bit over to the right, so you need to move them to the left. Bob, that looks really pretty good. Is that Karen Higgins? You're also moving over to the right. You know, Karen Higgins, you might try doing Shirshasana in a corner sometime. Vicki, that looks pretty good. You could draw your abdomen in a little bit more, but pretty much your legs are right on the money. Okay, Ryan, just keep on lifting the quadriceps up. Chaya, same thing. See if you can get a little bit more extension downward with your legs. Laura Teal, that looks really good. And next time, Laura Teal, you do that, if you also put 2 bricks on your fingertips, you'll get even more of that lift in your shoulders. All right, and then who's this right here? Supika, just a little bit more buttocks up and stretch up through your inner feet. Okay. There you go. Marsha, move your ribs back, your buttock flesh up into your heels. Okay. I'm sorry, the rest of you, I can only see 9 people and I can't figure out how to cycle through it. I'm going to figure it out before the next time I'm here. But see if any of those actions apply to you. I'm just thinking, Karen, if you do it in the corner, you'll feel when you're flipping, you know.
I tried it in the corner. It does give me much more feedback.
Good. I would do it that way. Maybe not all the time, but at least some.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, everyone, we're going to come out of Shirshasana now. Keep pressing your forearms down. Keep lifting your shoulders up as you lower your legs all the way down to the floor and rest in downward facing child's pose. All right, and then come all the way up. And then get a brick. In this particular case, the wood brick would actually work better. And we're going to do a brick supported Setu Bandha briefly before before Shavasana. Okay, so it looks like this. It's like Chatushpadasana in that you come up onto your toes, and you're going to get the brick right on the sacrum and tuck the shoulders underneath you and just be in brick supported Setu Bandha. If it doesn't bother your back to stretch your legs out, you can go ahead and do that. And if it doesn't bother you to bring your legs in closer together, it'd be better to do that. But just be for a couple of minutes. This is instead of shoulder stand today, but feel free to do a shoulder stand some other time during the day. Inversions also have a really different quality doing them in the morning versus doing them in the evening. You can also kind of divide them up. You could do, that's good, Marcia. You could do Shirshasana and stuff in the morning. You could save Sarvangasana till later in the day. Okay, the reason I chose this is something else that happened during a practice with Christina is they ended one of the sequences in this brick Setubandha. And I usually, when I run out of time, I usually have people do a Chatush and then just lay down on the floor for Shavasana, but I was really amazed at how much more this pose with the brick support feels like Sarvangasana than Chatushpadasana does. So you might experiment with that yourself sometime. But now come up onto your toes, take your brick out of the way, and then lower your buttocks all the way down to the floor. Tuck your shoulders underneath you. Make sure your buttock flesh is moving toward your feet, and then just stretch your legs out into Shavasana. If I have often given you a blanket in class for your head, if your head is leaning back, then please do that for yourself. You might even just try it even if you don't really need it. Again, it's a little bit more supportive feeling, having your head on something soft like a blanket than hard like the floor. You can experiment with that difference for yourself. How does the brain feel when the head is hard on the floor? How does the brain feel when there's some support of the blanket? But after you've made a little experiment or made some fusses, then just let go of the adjustment and mindset. And instead, just let your awareness draw in. Let your eyes release into the back of your head. Let your tongue release away from the roof of your mouth. And clench your jaw. Let the back of the throat release. Let the sides of the throat release. Let the base of the throat release. Let your ears draw inward. Completely relax the features of your face. Become quiet within. That's interesting. Again, I mentioned, see that Vicky has something over her forehead. That's a good idea to also have in your practice space, or if you have an eye pillow, it also feels really good. Just have those things around. And observe the quality, the effect that your practice has on the Shavasana. And then consciously use your inhalations to infuse whatever sense of calmness and quietude came in your Shavasana and your practice with you as you go about your work in the world. Place your hands under your ribcage, bend your knees. Roll your shoulders back. Roll over to your right side is what I meant to say. And then come all the way back up. Sit up straight and tall. I just grab my bolster. Lift your chest well, roll your shoulders back. Bring your shoulder blades closer together on your back, away from the neck and into the center of the body so that your chest opens well. Fold your palms together at your heart and close your eyes if you haven't already. Observe the effect of your work. Observe it on every layer of your being, from the physical to the most deeply spiritual. In gratitude to the benefit you receive from your practice of yoga, in gratitude to the people who have the opportunity to learn and study and practice yoga with, and in gratitude to the lineage of Hatha Yoga itself, as practiced by BKS Iyengar, reaching back to the sages of India, and down through a line of teachers and students to you, here on the mat in Austin, Texas. Well, namaste.